how much stock do you put in one game? I guess you just want to see you would hope your number one guy would go out probably and play lights out to kind of make it a clear picture. I see where Arkansas is named a starting quarterback for the season now. Texas A&M has. What's your feeling? Usually Coach Saban goes in the season with two guys. I think he always does that. But do you think there's any way he would go ahead and name the starter after the A-Day game this year?
I do not. I don't think he sees any reason to do that. It's not what the fans think; it's what he thinks. The fans can form their opinions by coming to the game and deciding who can play and who can't, but they don't determine who's going to start in the football game. So, no, he's not going to make a decision on a lot of things and announce them. I noticed in the article that he wrote, not that he wrote, that Bruce Feldman wrote that he doesn't do that. He's looking for character and attitude, and he wants to keep that character and attitude as long as he can, especially that attitude of competition all the way through. And so the quarterback situation in Alabama, yes, it's skill, but it's also the ability to communicate with the other guys on the team in the huddle. It's also the ability to pat these guys on the back when they drop passes rather than when they catch them. It's the ability to make them feel like that you can control the game in the huddle before you break huddle. Those are things that John Q. guy sitting in Section EE can't read. His abilities, the quarterback's probably going to be, a couple of guys that he's already mentioned. I don't say exactly, but I think it's a pretty good chance of who the quarterback's going to be. And I don't think, unless they fall on their face completely, that the quarterback ideas of Lane Kiffin and the offensive staff is going to change unless a guy just plays completely awful. I think if he just plays mediocre, it still stays the same, whoever that might be.
Yeah, but, have you ever – well, I know you have, because I have too, seen guys that are great in practice, like they're great practice players, but then you put, let's 75,000 people in the stands, and they can't perform. And I've seen it the other way. I've seen guys that don't perform well in practice, but somehow Josh Howard was a guy we had at Wake Forest. He was awful in practice, but that joker could play. Woo! When the popcorn was popping. And so I guess they kind of want to see that. Does a guy lose his mind? Not that there's going to be a hostile environment out there, but you got to be able to trust that guy.
Well,
and more importantly, I think one thing I hear Coach say all the time, now you got to have the skill, this, that, and the other, but he's looking for somebody that the team, the players buy into, that they say, hey, that's our guy, that they buy in. I think that's probably as important as anything to Nick Saban.
Well, the question that you ask can be answered with Cooper Bateman. He's been there. David Cornwell has not been there as much, and Blake and Jalen Hurt have not been there at all. So if you want to get a feel for Blake and Jalen Hurt, for Blake Barnett and Jalen Hurt, then hopefully you can do that. Cooper Bateman, they pretty much know he's been under fire, and they didn't lose the game against Ole Miss because of him. And Cornwell, who I think is right on the heels of Cooper Bateman. My personal opinion is Cooper Bateman will start and David Cornwell will play. And Jalen Hurt will be redshirted. Blake Barnett will get not much playing time. So that doesn't mean anything. If that happened to be correct and Cooper Bateman didn't have a great A-Day and David Cornwell had a little bit better, I don't think it'll change. I just don't think. I think they take a look at execution. I don't think the attitude of the quarterback, his attitude is not going to change because he's there because his attitude's been pretty darn good against his teammates, with his teammates. And the biggest thing you have to do is encourage your teammates when they fail, not when they succeed. When they succeed, everybody pats them on the fanny. But when they fail, when they drop a pass in the end zone, it was a touchdown. That's when you got to be helpful to them.
Yeah, Cooper Bateman really won the job, or right there is neck and neck, a tie last year. So there's something they see him. I don't think they've seen him enough. They've seen him on the field. I don't think they've seen enough to determine whether he's the guy. I think they got to see him do it with live bullets coming at him. He's the only guy, though, that they've seen in a game